Far too late, Colorado governor rescinds 1864 order to kill Native Americans. The governor of Colorado on Tuesday revoked a 157-year-old proclamation that called for state citizens to kill Native Americans and steal their property. Governor Jared Polis said the removal of the proclamation represents tearing down this harmful symbol of hate and sending a message about who we are as Coloradans and what we value. We can't change the past, but we can honor the memories of those who we lost by recognizing their sacrifice and vowing to do better, Polis said during the signing. The 1864 proclamation issued by Colorado's second territorial governor, John Evans, was one of two orders, according to a copy of Polis' executive order. The first order, issued in June 1864, directed Native American residents to gather at specific camps, while the second order, issued 2 months later, commanded Coloradans to kill and destroy hostile Indians, and encouraged them to take captive any property from these Native Americans. Evans' second order would lead to the Sand Creek Massacre, one of Colorado's darkest, most fraught and often overlooked historic moments. The brutal November 1864 assault left more than 200 Arapaho and Cheyenne people, mostly women, children and elderly, dead. Evans never took responsibility for his actions, contributing to the massacre, and was forced to leave office in 1865, ending his 3-year term. Rick Williams, a Lakota and Cheyenne descendant who studies Native American history, said the massacre was a culmination of the unsuccessful signing of the Fort Wise Treaty of 1861. In which U.S. government representatives met with Cheyenne and Arapaho leaders to establish a reservation along the Arkansas River in eastern Colorado. Only 10 people signed that agreement, Williams said. The next 2 years, it was hell for Indians because they didn't sign the treaty, and they tried to kill as many of them as they could, Williams said. And when that didn't work, Evans issued an order to declare war. The lingering impact of the massacre for Native American peoples was devastating, said Ari Kelman, a history professor from the University of California, Davis and author of A Misplaced Massacre, struggling over the memory of Sand Creek. Years of wars ensued that left thousands of people displaced or dead, and the hope for peace in tatters, Kelman told USA Today. 3 federal investigations conducted in the wake of the Sand Creek Massacre all reached the same conclusion of condemning the killings. Polis also said Evans' proclamation was unconstitutional and unlawful. It also directly contradicted the Colorado Constitution, the United States Constitution and Colorado criminal codes at the time, Polis said. Polis has also created an advisory board to recommend name changes for the highest peak in the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains, known as Mount Evans. Discussions are taking place within the Colorado Commission of Indian Affairs to choose more culturally sensitive names, said Alston Turtle, a councilman with the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. I think there's oftentimes the general community think of American Indians as the vanishing race, the vanishing people, said Ernest House Jr., a citizen of the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. And I think reconciliation, starts with things like this. It gives us a place that we were important and that our lives were important. A broader push for reconciliation and racial reckoning has occurred across the U.S. following the death of George Floyd at the hands of police, including efforts to remove Confederate monuments and statues of slave traders, colonizers, conquerors and others. Some states, including Colorado, have banned Native American mascots in schools. Polis' order follows former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper's formal apology to the descendants of victims of the Sand Creek Massacre on the massacre's 150th anniversary in 2014. His executive order states, "Not in the history books. What happened in Native American boarding schools under scrutiny." Governor Polis' executive order is both appropriate and necessary, though it comes far too late to provide any meaningful justice for the victims of Sand Creek and other Native people who suffered during that era, as the United States pushed relentlessly into the West, Kelman said.